either which way, no matter how the Australian Open final ended, we knew that we'd be witnessing history. Either we'd have been celebrating the fact that Novak Djokovic would become the first tennis player, male or female, to get to 25 Grand Slams, or we'd be celebrating a Carlos Alcaraz becoming the youngest men's tennis player to complete a career slam. It is the latter that we are celebrating because the young Spaniard at 22 years of age, unreal still to think about this, 22 years of age, has completed tennis. He has won the career Grand Slam, beating his compatriot and idol Rafa Nadal to the tag of youngest male tennis player to get the career Grand Slam. And so that, what a final it was in so many ways.
I mean, it would have been a dream, right? I mean, imagine 38 years old Novak Djokovic going through Yannick Sinner, going through Carlos Alcaraz to win a record 25th Grand Slam. It would have been the greatest story of our times. But this is 2026. It belongs to the Alcaraz era because Carlos Alcaraz, I mean, he's got the speed defense of his idol Rafael Nadal. He's got the wherewithal and clutch mentality of Novak Djokovic. He also has the artistry of Federer.
Exactly. He's got Federer's finesse. I know a lot of people always talk about, obviously, because you link Nadal and Alcaraz because they're both Spaniards. But there's an old interview, which I'm sure if you ever Google, where you see a very young Alcaraz say his idol was Federer.
Yes.
And now if you watch his game, we know that there are so many parallels to Djokovic. It's not down to just the service. It's the way he moves across the court. It's that never say die kind of a mentality that, Djokovic has embodied over the years. He's actually a very rare combination of all three of them. It's very scary. You don't know what it is that the tennis world, the tennis gods have created, because you've got a player who's got the best of all three players and
the holiest of holy trinity when you look at it.
Exactly.
Because today I was blown away. I mean, for one simple reason. Djokovic tried baseline to baseline, net to net. He just couldn't get past Alcaraz. I mean, Alcaraz was moving around the court. I mean, prime Nadal would have been so proud of the way he moved. And pressure. What pressure? I've got your clutch mentality, my friend. I mean, imagine in that game against Zverev in the semi-final.
Zverev was serving for the match.
And he managed to turn around and break him twice.
Exactly. That's crazy.
So, imagine at the age of 22, what tennis players take years and years to achieve. Federer, when he became peak Federer, took him 6 years to complete the slam.
He was 28. Djokovic was 29.
Yeah.
Nadal was the only one. He was 24 when he completed the career slam. But even then, look at Novak and look at Federer, how much time it took them to get there, 29 and 28. Alcaraz is 22, his career is just starting.
And he's done it in 3 years.
Aside from, really, the only things now that he has left to achieve is win an ATP final and win an Olympic gold. That's it.
He's completed tennis then like Djokovic and Agassi. Because remember, only 6 players in the history of the Open era now have completed the career Grand Slam. What's the career Grand Slam? Winning the Australian, winning the French, winning Wimbledon, and winning the US Open.
You've had Rod Laver.
You've had Rod Laver, then you had Agassi. Then you've had the trio in Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic.
The big three.
And you now have one more individual in 22-year-old, let me reiterate, 22-year-old Carlos Alcaraz doing it. And even more scary, supposing if he wins the Australian Open again next year, he would have won all the Grand Slams 2 or more times, much quicker than anybody. It took Djokovic a lot of time to win his French after winning the first. It took Nadal just 3 years before to win his second Australian. Federer never could do it. Laver achieved certain bits, but he never won more than 2 in the Open era when you look at it. So, it is scary. I mean, the Alcaraz era is looking scary when you look at dominance. But yeah, the defense that he had in the baseline, the serve, and looking at the way how he ensured he tired Djokovic out, ensured that Carlos Alcaraz fittingly in 4 sets. I think he had won Wimbledon in 4 sets against
Yes,
Djokovic
it was 2023, 24.
24. And that is why now Carlos Alcaraz has managed to ensure that he does the unthinkable, win the Grand Slam. And if he wins Olympic gold and the year-ender, he would have done what only Agassi and Djokovic have done in the history of tennis.
And Steffi Graf.
And Steffi Graf. Even Serena.
And Serena, yes, and Serena.
But Serena is a different beast because she's done the Grand Slam, the Super Grand Slam in doubles and singles.
Exactly.
So, but a word on Shane Novak Djokovic. Now the question we really have to ask, it's 2026. He's 38. He's going to turn 39. No chance for a 25th Grand Slam?
No, see, that's the thing. I mean, I know a lot of people, and there's plenty of Djoko fans when it comes to, even now, obviously, for fans of, I'd say, Nadal and Federer, they've kind of adopted. Most Nadal fans have gravitated towards Alcaraz, and most Federer fans, myself included, gravitate a little more towards a Sinner. But Djokovic is one of those who's still actively competing. And look, let's take nothing away from, for a 38-year-old, the man is still operating at a phenomenal level. There's just one small problem. He's not the same Djokovic that he was 5 years back. And that has made him mortal. It's actually made him mortal. Remember, the last Grand Slam that he won was in 23.
Yes.
It's been a while now since he's won a Grand Slam. 24, he went without winning slams.
But he did win the gold.
Yeah, he won the gold.
Alcaraz.
Yes, he won the gold. So he's done that. But aside from that, and if especially in 25, most people said, oh, okay, in 24, his focus was on the gold, this, that. In 25, his focus was very much on slams. He couldn't get there. I remember it was in, I think, the French Open.
Yeah.
Where I think it was Sinner who beat him. Straight sets. And then Sinner did the same in Wimbledon. Just to drive home the point further that, listen, man, your time is gone. And even here, I do think Sinner had the game. He had the match. He just, for whatever reason, had one rare off day where he forgot how to convert breakpoints. Otherwise,
out of 18, he didn't convert 16.
Otherwise, Sinner had the beating of him more often than not. And that, again, that's not taking away anything from Djokovic. He's operating at a phenomenal level. The problem is, father time waits for no one. When the younger generation comes, I mean, I don't know who it was who, when he was playing Sinner in one match, who said that this guy's playing AI tennis, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel real. And that's the thing when I watch Sinner and Alcaraz now, they're playing at a whole different speed. The speed they're operating at is next level. See, one advantage, and see, this is, I think, the Djokovic effect, you can say. With Nadal, he was pure power.
Yeah.
With Federer, he was pure finesse. Djokovic was a hybrid of both of them plus tenacity. It made for a very dangerous combination. The problem is these guys are now adopting all those traits and playing at a similar speed. Like when I watch Alcaraz at times, it's like watching Nadal and fast forward.
Yeah.
Same with a Sinner. It's like he's got that finesse of Federer, but he's doing it 10 times faster. I'm like, is that even possible? Where is the human body reaching? But it's happening. And that's the thing with Djokovic. If he had to, I think the times now when you look at it, and truth be told, if you're being very honest, even the last 4 or 5 slams that he's won, aside from that one US Open where he beat Alcaraz, let's be fair, his opponents haven't exactly been box office. I mean, I remember in Wimbledon 22 it was, yes, yeah. He beat Kyrgios. No disrespect to Kyrgios. Yeah. But it's Kyrgios. That same year, I think, no, that was not 22, that was 21. Where he beat Tsitsipas in the French Open final. Remember the same Tsitsipas who found out just before the final that his grandmother passed away. Yeah. So, again, if you're looking at some of these things, he's beaten relatively easier players in the finals. Now, he's coming up against guys who are seen as the flag bearers for the next generation. He's falling short. It's okay. But if I'm Novak, I think maybe play out this year and then call it quits. Yeah. I don't think that 25th is happening, and it's not a slight against him. He still goes down as the tennis GOAT, purely for accomplishments. Most Grand Slam wins was someone who could beat Nadal on clay and beat Federer on grass. That's rare. Yeah. It doesn't always happen like that. So he'll go down as a GOAT, but that 25th, I think, is beyond him.
I mean, what a year to lose Australian Open final for the first time. I mean, imagine
10 on the trot prior to this. 10 on the trot. He's never lost an Australian Open final
till now. I mean, yeah, I think the 25th might not happen. Maybe some records might not happen.
It's a bit like Serena's 24th.
Yeah,
I think it'll stay unscaled. That.
Yeah, but see, as Shane pointed out, he's achieved everything that needs to be in the world of tennis. Year-ender, he's won it 7 times. He's won all the slams 2 times or more. He's won the Olympic gold. At 38, he's completed tennis and he's taken the level of domination to the next level.
And mind you, he was not even seen in the same class at one point in time as a Djokovic, as a Federer or Nadal. He managed to outstrip both of them. I mean, that is full credit to him for that.
I mean, one journalist asked in a press conference, what do you mean chasing?
Yeah.
I thought I had one in the middle. I was winning a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in the early parts of his career, he was obviously chasing Nadal and Federer, but after a point, it came like he was the standard bearer. Wow. Simple as.
He did. So yeah, I also agree. Look, in the French Open, it's again Alcaraz.
Who's be the favorite? Yeah.
In Wimbledon, it could be Sinner. In the US Open, now when I look at it, if he had not had the default in the 2020 US Open,
oh yes,
perhaps then the 25th Grand Slam debate would have ended right in there.
And in 2020, he came very close to doing the calendar slam, right?
That was 21.
Oh, right.
When he won all three, but then he lost to Medvedev
Yeah,
in 2021. So those two US Opens that you look at it, that is going to hurt a lot for Djokovic, and that's why. But he might still achieve one more record which no other individual has ever achieved in the history of the sport. I mean, I was just checking his Grand Slam records. If Djokovic, supposing he completes 2026, if he goes to the quarterfinals of the US Open, that means he would have won 5, right? If he wins the quarterfinal, it will be 5. If he reaches the semi-final, he'll be the only individual in the history of the sport to win 100 matches in all the slams. He's 95 currently in the US Open. 25 and this particular stat, I think, look a bridge way too far. Because
he might still get the 100. I don't see him getting 25.
25, that's the thing. So Margaret Court's record of 24 Grand Slams might remain joint topmost at the moment.
It might remain untouched because again, people were talking about him struggling against the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner in recent times. Correct. Djokovic. Mind you, if it were not for an injury, Lorenzo Musetti would have knocked him out in the quarter.
And by the way, he could be that third Jodi in this trio. You operate on trios, right? In the 90s, 2000s. You could see Alcaraz and Musetti.
I think Musetti, the way he was playing, it looked like he was operating on another level. Yeah. I was wondering, when is the last time we saw two Italians dominate the sport of tennis? Then I also remembered this is the same country that is actually currently the Davis Cup champion.
Yes.
So they actually have a robust sort of a system coming up.
It is like how Switzerland. Yes. Before Federer, there was no one who had done so well. There was Jakub Lasek, there was Marc Rosset who was there.
But no one who scaled those heights.
But Federer changed the whole nature of the sport. That's why you had a Stan Wawrinka coming from there. And Spain, we all know they have pedigree. In the women's section, when you look at it, you had an Arantxa Sanchez, who was one of the best from Spain.
You had Juan Carlos Moya and the likes.
Moya, Ferrero, who was the coach of Rafael Nadal at one point. Then you had, of course, Sergei Bruguera. Bruguera. So they had pedigree. So that is why, I think Alcaraz, I will stick my neck out and say in the next 10 years, if their fitness remains, Alcaraz or Sinner, they could overhaul Nadal, Federer and Djokovic style.
I do tend to agree with that.
They are.
If Musetti ends up being the wild card, that'll be fun. Yeah. Because I know a lot of tennis fans kept saying, what after the big three? Well, the answer. Anyhow.
I've got some comments which is saying,
go ahead.
Dev Pratap Singh Chauhan saying, Shane and Sidvi, Djokovic 25th is now like Sachin 100th ton. I think he should retire by a year and now he's anyways the GOAT. No point, just stretching.
I agree. He's at this point, there's no disrespect. He can still beat a lot of tennis players. He's just not elite of the elite anymore. And that's okay. He's already the GOAT.
Yeah, he is. Sarat Chandra saying, Navratilova not GOAT. No, Sarat Chandra, I'll tell you. Margaret Court has won 24 Grand Slams.
Yeah, Navratilova didn't have that many.
She's won the most Wimbledon with 9.
Yes.
And yes, Navratilova's had more success in doubles also combined. But Court has more in the Open era with 24 in the singles bit. So Desmond Haynes is saying, Federer loved by people because of style of play and comeback wins. But as a Federer fan, I agree. Djokovic is the greatest of all time and all court player. Yeah. Sarat Chandra, first final loss for Djoko in Oz Open ever. That's an Undertaker level streak.
Actually, you could have that guy reacting and it would be apt.
It would be. I mean, 10 Australian Open titles, not a single loss. And in fact, he had the longest Australian Open final ever. 5 hours, 53 minutes, Nadal in 2012. Yes, but now, glad that Alcaraz is my fav. He's just starting. Vamos, his drop shots and pace are his X factor.
His drop shots are crazy, my God. Because he'll chuck it in there from out of nowhere. He's making him dance around courts and then... Everything
about Alcaraz is an X factor, sir. Not those two things that you mentioned. So, Sarat 2000s born has more Grand Slam than 90s born because of dominance of 80s born, Anshu Mishra is saying. Well, I don't know about that. See, every era, the style of play was different. The power was different. Djokovic, Federer, Nadal had power, grace, style.
And also, they had one thing which the other generation sadly didn't. Consistency, Agassi, to the memory of many who have watched him, was one of the best players ever. What was his big struggle? Consistency.
He,
in fact, despite the fact that he won all 4, everyone agrees that of that generation, Sampras was the greatest. Why?
Correct.
Because not only was he more consistent, he also consistently had the beating of Agassi.
Yes.
Consistently.
And last two comments we'll just take. Okay, I think what Sarachandra says, I think he will give one last shot for French or Wimbledon. Mostly Wimbledon to equal prestigious Federer 8 Wimbledon titles. Djokovic has 7. But again, how will you get past the Sinner? How will you get past an Alcaraz on this kind of a form?
You can't.
Because it's not like, Nadal's obvious strength was clay. He's the emperor of clay. That's one record which I think no individual will come close. Only 3 losses in a 20 plus year career here. Federer, okay, more on grass and hard courts. Djokovic did it all. Sinner and Alcaraz have got the power in all.
Yeah, the thing with Sinner and Alcaraz, you might say that Sinner slightly favors grass and Alcaraz definitely slightly favors clay. But they're not surface players. They're not. That's what makes it so scary. They're both young and neither of them favors one particular surface very obvious, right?
Yes.
Like you can drop them anywhere and they're getting wins.
Yep. So, Abhishek Rao, last comment I'll take. For Noel, age was not there with him, but definitely the tennis was there. He played exceptionally well given his age. Kudos to Carlito. Yep, indeed. But age at one point is only a factor, my friend. But then, welcome and let us enjoy the new Sin-Karaz era.
Absolutely.
Because if Sinner doesn't get you, Carlito will definitely will. And that's why career Grand Slam completed.
Done.
Only 2 more for completing total tennis. The year-ender and the Olympic gold. Olympic gold in 2028. Year-ender mostly in 2026. Let's see, he's lost the final twice, remember. So that's why Carlos Alcaraz, 7th Grand Slam title. Career Grand Slam completed at the age of 22. This is truly remarkable in more ways than one. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live from me and Shane. It's bye-bye. We'll be back for the Under-19 World Cup match, whatever happens there. But let us enjoy this Australian Open triumph. It's truly one historic occasion for all of us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.